Joining me now is Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He, of course, is a longtime friend and close ally of President Biden. Senator Coons, what makes you believe that Republicans are going to budge on this, on the debt limit?
Well, John, first, let's be clear about what this is about. Most other advanced economies don't do this, where their government agrees to spend money and then a year or two or three later has to raise their debt limit to pay for it. What we are doing by suspending the debt ceiling or raising the debt limit is paying for things that have already been done, mostly under the previous administration, spending that was approved by Congress on a bipartisan basis and signed into law by President Trump. So when some of my colleagues say they won't vote for it because they won't vote for something that helps facilitate the Democrats' agenda, that's just not true. It also goes against the last 80 times that on a bipartisan basis we have agreed that the United States should pay the bills that we approve here in Congress. So I think if we begin allowing the precedent that we will only raise the debt ceiling by the party that is in power, that makes even harder the reality that with a filibuster here in the Senate, we won't get a single Republican vote, which means we won't raise the debt ceiling, which means we won't increase spending on anything. I'll remind you, John, we are still in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Last year, the Congress came together and in an important bill early last year, unanimously passed a multi-trillion-dollar pandemic relief bill. And at the end of last year, on a strong bipartisan basis, passed another COVID relief bill. That's why we aren't in a deep recession. We should pay those bills. This is something that's a bipartisan interest and that we as Democrats, when President Trump was in the White House, did relatively easily 3 times.
You talk about precedent, though. I remind
Yes.
you, and I know you don't need any reminding, Mitch McConnell held a Supreme Court seat vacant for a year.
I know.
Counter to
I'm
every
well aware.
president. So what makes you think he'll budge this time? You can find it upsetting and unfair, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
John, the consequences for average Americans would be dramatic and swift. We would get downgraded. We would be not able as a country to borrow money on the markets at the same rates, and it would immediately impact how much your viewers are paying in interest rates on everything from credit cards to home mortgages. All of us who are serving here in Congress know that this would be reckless and irresponsible.
So are Democrats willing to, there is a way you can do this alone. You can do this through reconciliation with just Democratic votes. Will you do it alone if you have to?
I don't think so. We're going to have a debate about that in my caucus today, but I think that sets a terrible precedent. One that we didn't follow when we were in the minority and the Republicans controlled the House and the Senate, even though they passed a tax bill that didn't get a single Democratic vote and that we did not think would pay for itself. We still voted to raise the debt ceiling. We think they should do the same thing this time. Frankly, this threatens to step on what is the most important message our president is bringing to the United Nations today, which is that the United States can again be a global leader in pulling the world together to confront 3 crises that are going on at the same time: a global public health crisis in the pandemic, a migration crisis all over the world, and climate change, which is really helping drive and contribute to both. I expect we're going to get a clear and strong and forceful and welcome speech from President Biden later this morning. I'll remind you, the United Nations here in the United States in New York is one of the only places in the world where world leaders of all backgrounds gather and where we have the chance to put our best foot forward. Next year will be President Biden's 50th year as a national elected official. He knows the stage, he knows the setting, and he'll deliver a strong and welcome message.
You say President Biden will show he can bring the world together. Is that the message the world has received over the last few months? The messy withdrawal from Afghanistan was divisive among many U.S. allies. Certainly, the submarine deal with Australia has been divisive. You can argue whether or not France is sour grapes or should be, but it's certainly been divisive. They pulled their ambassador for the first time in history. So is that pulling the world together?
Well, John, I am friends with the French ambassador to the United States, and it certainly was a striking gesture for him to be recalled for consultation to Paris. And I'll remind you, the French just accomplished a major counterterrorism objective in killing French troops killed in West Africa, the leader of ISIS, West Africa, a security mission that we've been supporting for years. They are one of our longest and closest allies. And yes, the way that the critical new submarine deal between the United States, UK, and Australia was announced produced some grave upset in Paris, and we're going to have to work to make sure that we weave back together our partnership, our alliance that's based on values and interests. But President Biden has been making a fundamental pivot from 20 years where the United States was principally connected to wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and where all of our allies from NATO and other regions in the world were engaged in that war with us, to now a period where we're engaging in diplomacy, where we're moving towards the world conference that's going to happen in Glasgow now in just 6 weeks to focus on the urgent crisis of climate change and to be the world leader in vaccines. There was great news just this week that the latest evidence shows that an American invented and developed vaccine is safe for children from 5 to 11. We have to make more progress in fighting this pandemic, and making that progress is the sort of leadership President Biden will show. I
want to bounce around a little bit. We talked about the debt ceiling. We've talked about the United Nations. I do want to talk about this separate issue, which is the spending plan and the infrastructure deal, where there is infighting among Democrats. There just is at this point, with Joe Manchin saying that he doesn't support, as it stands right now, the $3.5 trillion spending plan. And then you have some progressive Democrats, particularly in the House, who say, okay, you're not going to vote on that right now. We're not going to vote on infrastructure. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says, quote, you have a very small, destructive group of members who want to hold the entire country's agenda hostage for an arbitrary date. And it's not representative of the agenda of the caucus. It's not representative of the agenda of the president. And she basically says, you know, we're not voting for infrastructure if we don't do this overall budget thing. So how does this get solved?
Well, John, first, we have a very tight margin in the Senate. It's 50-50, and there's a very small margin in the House. So this has always been a high degree of difficulty, high dive that we were attempting to pass both a robust bipartisan infrastructure bill, which has already come out of the Senate and is waiting for action on the House, and to conclude a bold and ambitious objective, a big plan that will reduce the costs for working Americans, reduce the costs of healthcare, reduce the costs of daycare, make higher education more affordable and accessible, provide for paid family leave. I'm less concerned about exactly what that top line number ends up being. And I'll remind you, it's over 10 years.
I understand.
So if it's $350 billion a year or $320 billion a year, we should take the win and get the infrastructure bill to the president's desk and get a reconciliation bill done and passed into the president's desk. I suspect this deal will be declared dead several times before it ultimately passes, just as happened with the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But this is the core of President Biden's agenda, and we have majorities in the House and the Senate. And John, in the end, the things that are in that bill, all Democrats support, making life easier and more affordable for working Americans, to give them a platform on which to build. It will get done.
Does it get done this month, as is promised?
I don't know that it'll get done this week, but it will get done.
This month?
I'm hopeful, but it's going to take a lot of work, and you just cited really the two ends of our caucus, AOC and Joe Manchin. There's a lot of room in between, and there's a lot of Democrats working to pull them together and to get us to an agenda that we can all support.
Chris Coons, we appreciate you being with us this morning. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thanks, John.